Alright folks, it's turn 23 and it's time for some very serious contemplation. As you may notice, we did take Monarch Woods. But. So, we have our two staggered lines of Burgmeister guards up here. We've got our random chaffy units behind them. We've got Carmont the Cardinal up here, well away, you may notice, from the chariots. We've got a big old mass of chariots. Chariots are very useful. Over here, we've got hundreds of random assorted undead. As we charge forward, we're shooting arrows at them, and then the chariots charge in. They countercharge the long dead horsemen very effectively. They trample them. The Burgmeister Guard go forward. The Burgmeister Guard are taking very little damage from the skeletons. The skeletons just are not killing them very quickly, which is exactly what I'd hoped to see. The chariots, meanwhile, have rampaged into the back of the undead here, which is also exactly what I'd hoped to see. Unfortunately, of course, as I mentioned, their morale is low. Especially there's one squad where their morale is quite low because they're not led by a very good commander. So the chariots are wiping everything out, but also this guy has morale -1 because he has battle fright, which is sort of hilarious. Even after the fanaticism. After the fanaticism, my Burgmeister Guard morale is quite healthy. But, as you may notice here, just a second, in just a minute, at the last moment, the chariots rout. All of the chariots rout. Every last one of them. Both squads rout. First, they rout through the Burgmeister Guard, which kills many of them with trample. Not a huge number, since they do have defense skill fucking 19. But many of them. But then, more importantly, the routing chariots rout over Carmont the Cardinal. And they kill him. Because he's an old man with a very low defense score. So he gets hit by one, count them, exactly one of all those routing chariots, and he fucking dies. The only Holy Four I'm ever gonna get. And he fucking dies to being trampled by a routing chariot when the battle, I have to point out, is already won. Yeah. Okay. So, in Monarch Woods, all told, I suffer 92 casualties, and almost all of them are due to my own routing chariots. Carmont dies. I lose 40 of my Burgmeister Guard. Of course, I do lose half the chariots before they rout. The Deer Tribe Warriors I don't care about. The Light Infantry I don't care about. Losing a Cardinal and 3 Commanders I do actually care about. We wipe out, I mean, the battle was not hard with these troops. It was fine, but I lose half the fucking army due entirely to my Centaur chariots routing at exactly the wrong time. If they had held on 10 seconds longer, I would have won without losing Carmont. They still would have trampled some of my Burgmeister Guard, but who the fuck cares? In any case, retreating, 32 units retreat, only 13 of them make it back to friendly territory. So of those Centaur chariots that rout, I also lose most of them. So what I've got left here is, I've got about 120 units all told, very few chariots. I've got a few more chariots here that I'm bringing back in, because I'm a sucker for punishment, I guess. If he chooses, he can bring in, I can be facing just a fuck ton of long dead. That would not be super hard. So we can see in Sailor's Haven, he's got 166 long dead patrolling in Sailor's Haven. He's got 85 patrolling in Kalkheim. And he's got another 100 and some odd here in Shambhalak. Now, I'm betting that he won't want to deploy all of his long dead, because he'll fear that I'll be able to sneak in more stalkers while his long dead are deployed. So he should be keeping back a significant number to patrol. But even so, this army could probably... this army does not have the anti-skeleton countermeasures in it, really. It has Shaigi, and Shaigi can throw ashes to ashes with the best of them. But it doesn't have anything else, really. It doesn't have... I don't have the other skeleton countermeasures online quite yet. I was planning to still have Carmont the fucking Cardinal in this army, and with Carmont and Shaigi, I would be willing to gamble that amount of anti-skeleton firepower against a very large number of skeletons. You may notice in this battle that just occurred in Monarch Woods, Carmont alone killed 47 undead, and then the Prophet also killed 47 undead. Shaggy. So, yeah, Shaggy and Carmont together could in fact probably take on like 300 skeletons, which is what's going on there with the help of their army. Unfortunately, without the line formation and without the everything, it's going to be a lot harder, especially because the Burgmeister Guard now have a big morale penalty. But on the plus side, we hit Conjuration level 5, we also went down to Enchantment level 2, so we're moving out Tommaso de Monferrada. Tommaso is going to lead a large group of crossbowmen, as well as a few more Burgmeister Guard. He's going to head down here, he's carrying a bunch of fire gems, so that he can cast flaming arrows on them, which he can just do by himself. We're going to cut out a few of these guys in order to get a few more Burgermasters. Like that, I think. Yeah, there we go. We're continuing to pump out crossbows, because enough crossbows under flaming arrows is a pretty solid skeleton counter, even Ulmish skeletons. They're tough, but they're not that tough. We're also churning out some more Burgmeister Guard in some of our other forts. We're not taking the time and paying the money to... We're going to cancel these boys here in favor of more Burgmeister Guard. We're not taking the time and paying the money to upgrade more things to Citadels just yet. We will finish the Citadel here in the Mercs next turn. And we're also canceling a whole lot of our militia recruitment in favor of more Burgermasters. Actually, back here, since we're relatively low on resources, we should be getting crossbows instead. And up here, we'll get kind of a mix, I guess. That's pretty good. Set that on repeat. We're recruiting more assassins because defensive assassins are really good. So we've got those going on. We're going to be collapsing assassins up this way in an effort to build up a defensive assassin corps here in Monarch Woods. We also really do need to start a palisade. I just don't have... I can't accumulate the funds to do that this turn and still be recruiting stuff. Tell you what, actually, if I canceled all of that, that gives me 333. If I canceled my troop recruitment for this turn... Well, and here's the other thing, actually. I don't want to do that because my fear is that I'm going to get counterattacked this turn and not be able to stop him. And so he's just going to take the province, and I don't want to start a palisade until I'm pretty secure in my defenses. So, we're building up more troops. We'll flood more troops over this way. I can't match him for troop numbers, obviously, and that situation will only get worse as time goes on. But I can certainly match him for quality. And if I can build up, I mean, I can essentially, one of the things that I can do here is enact a repeat of the Machaca versus Celeria strategy. I can throw a critical mass of archers that kill his skeletons so quickly that he can't, it doesn't matter how many he has. Now, things that can disrupt that strategy, his dryads can assassinate me, of course. So I'd have to be patrolling very heavily in order to prevent that. They're not as stealthy as my stalkers are, but they are still stealthy. And I think... Don't quote me on this because I don't remember. I'm going to actually go ask somebody who's done this more than I have if this is true in just a little bit here. But I think that assassins cannot target stealthy targets. He can also thug against me with his achromic lords. Armies that are very good at killing skeletons are not necessarily very good at killing she lords. And he has the wizard kings if he can recruit any of them, which I think he probably can. Which can bring a vast amount of buff magic against me, so he can easily throw down anti-magic and such. However, with his god, he probably, I mean, he has a lot of he's got a lot of income, I'm sure. His scales are pretty good. We can see those are Car's scales, so he's got Order 3, Production 3, Cold 3, and Misfortune 3. The Death, I think, is coming from the Throne. Yeah, he has Growth 3, I believe, there. So yeah, the Death is coming from the Throne of Death, which I am claiming, because it is 5 death gems. So we're gonna claim it. We're gonna try to hold here. I won't be super surprised if I fail. If I do fail, I'm gonna have to fall back. However, I did also summon my first vampire this turn. So Avon P. Ire, the Immortal Diabolist, has been summoned. He's here. He's queer? He might be queer. I don't know. He's a vampire. It doesn't really matter. But in any case, I'll look at that delicious, delicious lore. Yeah, go me. Let me pat my back a little bit. Oh god, I sprained my elbow. So, Avum here is helping to blood hunt. We're gonna try to rack up the blood slaves to get another one going on. We are forging a couple more sanguine dowsing rods. People in Halemire are very upset. Unrest is through the roof. But we're still blood hunting there anyway. And we've now got 2 commanders patrolling with a total of about 70 units. Which should be enough to keep the lid on things. Hopefully that'll help push this unrest down. I do have Order 3 as well, so the unrest should be pushed down by that. And so next turn, I'm hoping I'll be able to summon a second Immortal Diabolist and keep going that way. In terms of research, we're hitting enchantment level 4 in 2 turns, I believe. After that, we're going to go down Thaumaturgy, because Thaumaturgy level 1, of course, already gave us Dust to Dust, so Death 1 mages can throw Dust to Dust against skeletons. Large enough numbers of Death mages can make a very significant impact on skeleton hordes. At level 5, I get Control the Dead, which is a spell that my vampires can cast. If Mechrite isn't casting anti-magic by the time I start using this spell, which he really should be, but he might not if he hasn't been recruiting many mages, which I don't think he has. I think he's doing the Solaria thing and really doubling down on the skeleton production strategy. Then Control the Dead will be quite effective, because his Long Dead only have 9 magic resistance, and Control the Dead hits a square, which is 3 Long Dead, with magic resistance or be enslaved, which I can spam from my vampires and my circle masters, and if necessary I can form Sabbaths and cast it. And then level 6 gives me Withered Bones, which I need Skull Staffs in order to cast, but doesn't cost any gems, and wipes out huge numbers of skeletons for no actual cost. So, there's that. Now, my death income is still garbage. I'm really hoping that I'll be able to hold on to the Throne of Death for a few turns in order to mitigate that. But, so we've got these troops. They'll be assembling there. I think they can probably hold off an attack. I think if he charges in here with the majority of these skeletons, I think Shaggy can probably stop them. After that, I'll be rolling up Tommaso with his 90 crossbows in support. And after that, if he doesn't attack me this turn, I think we're going to probably start a fort here in Monarch Woods. And of course, we're going to get the assassins up there. If I can manage to get 4 or 6 assassins established in Monarch Woods before he attacks me, then I can defensively assassinate, and I can make it just really a hell of a time for him to try and take this. I am kind of upset about the way this battle went, though, because it put me in a really awkward position where I'm like, okay, so I was hoping to be strong enough when I took this province to actually be able to launch the army forward and attack one of these forts and put Mechrite on the defensive. That's not the case, purely because all those chariots just routed. Oh god. I am taking measures to deal with the morale problem, though. For one thing, I'm casting Heavenly Fires a lot, and for another thing, I'm summoning a pair of Ujigami. Ujigami are good leaders. They give morale bonuses to my troops. Should help. I can also forge the Helmet of Heroes, which gives you inspirational plus something or other. So I'm actually gonna plus 2. So I'm actually gonna forge 2 Helmets of Heroes for my Ujigami. Those Ujigami with the Helmets of Heroes on will then grant plus 5 morale. The Herald Lances would also be pretty nice, but I need to be Astral level 2, so I'll tell you what, actually. You summon Heavenly Fires. I could forge Herald Lances as well for a total of plus 6 morale. I don't know if that's really necessary. I think plus 5, plus 5 pushes Burgmeister Guard up to morale 14 already. And Crossbows up to morale 13, which should be good enough. And then, of course, on top of that, they're priests, so the Ujigami can also cast my Banish, which is the Fire Banish, which is quite effective, actually. Down here, we're finishing our Adept of the Iron Order and recruiting 2 more Stalkers. And then, actually, you know what? Instead of Stalkers, let's recruit... Actually, instead of Stalkers, we might want to keep focusing on Adepts of the Iron Order, I guess. Just keep churning those out. I mean, they are quite powerful mages. They give me better earth magic is mainly what they give me. Do I need better earth magic right now, though, is the question. And I think the answer is no. I mean, Earth Meld. Earth Meld is a pretty good spell against masses of undead. But Earth Elementals, not terrible. Legions of Steel, but I throw that from Communions in any case. I do want Strange Fire, though. The Strange Fire, when I form a Communion, Strange Fire is just delete 3 squares of skeletons every round. And it's long range, low fatigue cost, and it will just burn up 3 squares of skeletons every single round. It will do less damage to my own units, so 8 armor piercing versus even the Burgmeister Guard have 14 protection. So 8 AP versus 6 protection. On average, they'll actually survive a hit. I'm sorry, 7 protection. So yeah, on average, it'll be 1 damage plus DRN minus DRN. So usually, Burgmeister Guard will be able to survive 1 hit from Strange Fire before going down. They may be able to take 2 or 3. So I can spam it without having to worry too much, which is really, really nice. I need more Magi for that to function, though. I think what I'm going to have to do here is... I think part of what I'm going to have to do is... Yeah, you're still recruiting Magi. That's fine. Up here, you're recruiting Assassins. That's okay. Over here, we're going to swap you over to Magi. Because I really need to pump the jams, pump it up right now. And of course, from that Citadel, we'll start churning out more Magi, which will be just grand. We're up to 510 income in the United Independent Coalition, which is great. In terms of unexpected events, yeah, this was a random event that just happened because they have we spawned the cult event in there. So since my armies were patrolling, we're also destroying the cult, and we lost a little bit of income in Vepetre, which isn't awful. Vepetre will be fine. So that's the turn. We'll see how this goes. Like I said, I think I can hold off 1 attack, and then it'll be a question of whether my reinforcements can get there before he builds back up again or not. All of these Demons of Heavenly Fires will help. I'm summoning, it's 3 per cast, if I recall correctly. I don't need Conjuration level 6. Yeah, it's 3 per cast for 6 gems. So, we'll be getting 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24 this turn. And then I'll have the fire gems to summon a few more, but I probably want to save them to throw flaming arrows and potentially fire elementals into combat. But yeah, 24 Demons of Heavenly Fires is a pretty beefy little firing squad. Now, they will be weakened in Mechrite's Dominion because he took Cold 3, which is frustrating. But defensively, at least, I think we should be able to use them very, very effectively. He's built a lot of temples. If I can get that throne, then I'll have a little bit more pushback. Right now, I only have 5 temple checks, and he has, like, more than that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think. 7 for the home province, 8 for the prophet. Yeah, he has more push than I do. But that's fine. Once we take Monarch Woods, that'll give us an extra 2 checks here. And then we'll try to build a fort and all in there as well. So we should be able to get something going, assuming he doesn't kick me out of here immediately this coming turn just by attacking me with a whole bunch of completely unsupported skeletons. But I think at least, I think this war should force him to start recruiting mages, which will slow his skeleton production growth rate a lot, which is all to the good. And we'll just see how it goes. So, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all in turn 24. Okay, folks, turn 24. We have claimed the Throne of Death. So our death income just spiked up to 7, which is great. We did not get attacked this turn, which is also decent. We've got a lot of skeletons here, just a whole bunch of skeletons. But we've managed to get our troops back together. We've also hired 2 mercenary groups. So we've got Hannibal with his 5 war elephants, and we've got Dante with his spearmen. In conjunction with between them and the 100 Burgmeister Guard, plus my various assorted other units and the chariots and all that, I think we could hold against a pretty significant skeleton attack. Now, we did, unfortunately, Edirol here has a misfortune scale on it, so we did get hit by the forces that dwell beneath the deep forest because the throne of Gaia has come in. So we got hit by an Ivy King leading some Vine Men and some Vine Ogres. They wiped out our province defense, but that's fine. We're moving in Tommaso del Monferrada, leading a big old pile of crossbows and a few Burgmeister Guard, who I'm actually going to set into line formation. On hold and attack. And he's just casting spells on conservative magic gem usage. He doesn't have anything else he needs to be doing. We're throwing down another Heavenly Fires because our summons down here have gone off. So we've got 2 Ujigami, who are inspirational +3, which means they give a squad morale bonus of a total of +5, counting their hats. So morale is just off the chain for most of these units, which is fantastic. We've got 24 Demons of Heavenly Fires. The Ujigami can bless them, which is great. Our map move is low because the map move of the Burgmeister Guard is very low, and Ujigami are not fast in any case since their armor penalty is quite high. But we're sending both because I want to have a little bit of redundancy to avoid being assassinated. Speaking of being assassinated, it would be really nice if I had some like defensive things. So I am going to, I think, forge a Skull Talisman to hand to one of my bros there. Skull Talismans and Imp Familiars are both useful for this. Shadow Imps aren't very powerful, unfortunately, and Imp Familiars are cursed and tainted, so you can never take them off. So we're going to forge a Skull Talisman, which we will hand to Munetaka, who is leading the army, so that he'll have a skeleton bro to help him out in a fight. Ujigami are hard to assassinate because they are ethereal, as well as being heavily armored and having decent stats. However, they're not immune to poison, so Swarm can still hurt them. It's unlikely, but it can work. That said, being ethereal and having high protection is a pretty good defensive measure, especially because with this Bless, they'll also have plus attack skill and strength and all that good stuff. So that's nice. In any case, so we've got another 60 units moving out. We're summoning a couple more Demons of Heavenly Fires, 3 more to join Munetaka's army. We're going to rumble up here into Monarch Woods now. I've been checking out Demise, of course, a little bit. So he's got a pretty significant army right here, 90 units. That's not a bad little force. And over here, he's been recruiting. He's been pumping out Polemarchs and not doing anything with them, which is interesting. So he's got a ton of Polemarchs sitting here in the Order of the Divine Flame. I don't know how many exactly, but based on the fact that he's showing as many Polemarchs as he is Colossi Light Infantry, it might be like... it might be 20. He might have 15 or 20 Polemarchs. He might be forming an army of Polemarch thugs. If he does that, it's going to be a very interesting question what I can do about it. Because... I mean, what I can do about it is Soul Slay, actually. What I can do about it is form a communion and spam Soul Slay at them. But that's not, by any means, 100% strategy. We're going back to pumping out Magi. We're still a little short on gold, which is super unfortunate because I don't want to stop recruiting troops completely. I'm recruiting a couple of basic commanders down here. We've got some Burgmeister Guard coming out. Over here, we're going triple a Stalker, so we're starting to churn out Stalkers from our new Citadel. We've upgraded a couple of places to castles, but not to Citadels yet. We're just running short on income because we're short on territory. We were doing well up till now, but especially with the blood hunting, hurting our income by building up unrest, we're starting to hurt. So, we're not blood hunting over here anymore. You can just research, my friend. Avon P. Ire is sneaking over to the Weald. We're also sending a couple more Conjurers with Sanguine Dowsing Rods, and we've got Urgun patrolling with 33 militia. Hermable. So I've got a bunch more units down here. So Hermable's going to duck down there to grab them, I think. Danfozar, we're slowly bringing the unrest down in Halemire, but it's still pretty high. So we're going to add a few more patrollers, I think. We're going to fill them both up to 55 each. So we'll have 110 units total patrolling in Halemire. And like I said, we're just going to burn this province to the ground. We'll build up patrollers in the Weald as well. We'll have 3 or 4 blood mages blood hunting in the Weald. And then the Mercs, once the unrest goes down, will be back up to full income level. And then we'll also look at we'll also look at Dragon Ridge here. Got more assassins sneaking in. We've got a lot of troops patrolling in Monarch Woods just in case he tries to send Dryads after me. This army should absolutely be able to kill Dryads, and we've got more than 150 units patrolling, so he shouldn't be able to sneak anything in on me. If he wants to attack, he pretty much has to do it now, because 2 turns from now, on turn 26, Tommaso della Monferrata will arrive, and simultaneously I will have finished researching enchantment level 4 and be working on enchantment level 5, so I will have flaming arrows. And once those 89 crossbows show up with flaming arrows, it'll be much, much harder for his skeletons to attack me. I'm also getting enchantment 5 because Skeleспam from my immortal vampires, who also move very, very quickly and fly, can be a very useful supplement to my armies by means of just spamming out chaff that my crossbows can fire into and not care that they're killing. Now, citadels are hard to siege down. Fortresses are a lot less hard to siege down, especially when they have long dead inside. Long dead are very bad at beating sieges. So, the question will be how many Dryads has he stacked up inside to perform defensive assassinations. And in order to figure that out, what I have to do basically is I need to bring a whole bunch of stalkers along with any army that comes to attack these places. And we put the stalker, we move in, the stalkers can scale walls, so they then begin methodically assassinating cultists inside the fort. Unfortunately, the cultists form a big kind of like chaff blockade for his commanders, because he doesn't mind if the cultists die at that point. The cultists only exist to summon skeletons. Once you have the place under siege, they can't summon skeletons anymore already, so their usefulness is already very much mitigated. But if there are Dryads inside, then the cultists form a chaff blockade for the Dryads, so you're very unlikely to successfully assassinate them. Which is unfortunate, but we've got 5 commanders here now, so even if he does have a Dryad or 2 snuck in here, it's at least possible that he'll hit. It's more likely than not that he'll hit either a random mercenary commander or Servius. Boniface and Shaigi are the ones who need to survive. Shaigi could potentially survive an assassination because he has... he's holy, because he's sacred and he's buffed his attack skill and his defense skill is good and all that stuff. So he could potentially survive an assassin by smiting the Dryad right at the start of things, which he'll tend to do since he's auto-blessed and has no other magic paths. In those kind of situations, priests love to cast their smite spells on individual targets, so he might be able to survive that way. If Boniface gets attacked by a Dryad assassin, he's just going to die, and there's nothing I can do about it. So, you know, here's hoping that doesn't happen. Elohar is searching for air sites. Tommaso is moving on. We're casting Heavenly Fires here in Esquania. We should also pushing the province defense up won't really matter. If we're raided by Kalkheim, it's going to be in the form of She-Lords, or Achromic Lords as he calls them, and they're just going to wipe out any conceivable province defense because they are, you know, the She. Now, I do have crossbows in my province defense for my forts, which can help, but still won't do the trick, I don't think. I think the only way we're going to actually prevent any of his stealth or assassinations or anything is by massive, massive amounts of patrolling. So, that is turn 24. The armies are moving out. We are gathering our troops. We've got more crossbows going with the Demons of Heavenly Fire, so 24 more of those guys. Total of over 100, and we should be able to launch our offensive within a few turns. I've contacted Demise and let him know, like, I've got my troops ready to go in against Kalkheim. Are you ready to go in? We don't technically have a non-aggression pact at the moment, so it's possible that he will decide to backstab me. I mean, it's possible he would decide to backstab me even with a non-aggression pact, but I'm just like, if he tries it this turn, he's going to move into Edirol, and then he'll run into my huge pile of crossbows. And I'm actually going to turn off conservative gem usage real quick and put Tommaso up there. So my huge pile of crossbows, especially under flaming arrows, should be able to deal with this force. If he does attack me this turn. If he attacks me next turn, once all my troops are concentrated up here in Monarch Woods, at that point I'll have a very interesting problem. That being that I'll probably be inundated by hundreds of skeletons while simultaneously being attacked by a thug army. Now, he hasn't hit the research to make his thug army really efficient yet, and really highly resilient and effective, but I don't know. We'll see. They're very difficult to assassinate, which is why he's using them. Now, I could also I can, at this point, forge the Scepter of Authority, which gives me the Set People on Fire spell, which makes my assassins much more efficient. So I may start forging some of them, but I'm kind of hitting a Fire Gem crunch. My Fire Gem income is not the best. My gem income overall is pretty good. I've got 20 gems per turn, which is, it's alright for now. But 5 of those are coming from the Throne of Death. And beyond that, I'm struggling a little bit. I am moving Finfag out to search for higher level, for Earth and Astral, as well as a little bit Air, which I haven't really site searched many places for yet. Albeit I have found a number of Air gems, funnily enough, because I've got the Canyon of Wild Winds down there, and up here I've got the Sky Split Oak. That's 3. My total Air gem income is 4, and I do not have many Air mages, so it's a little bit hilarious. I'm also going to send out, I think I'm going to move Libar along with the army, actually, because Libar can cast those delicious Earth buffs very easily, and I need to start deploying mages into combat. My research is pretty good. 425 on turn 24 is very, very solid indeed. Getting more magi built up, and I think we should be in a pretty good spot. So, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all on turn 25.